what we're giving you is the most dense monster,
Yeah.
centric film that we can.
So it's not like, for example, you've cut out a third fight between Kong and Godzilla.
No, 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 no. I mean, like, there was actually originally one more fight in the film with them, but we actually were never able to figure out how to make it that interesting. So we ended up cutting it because it was just like, this is just kind of pointless. Because originally, um, when Godzilla, fires his beam into Hollow Earth,
Mm.
originally he actually went into Hollow Earth and he and Kong fought in sort of the throne room, and then they both kind of crawled back up and finish the fight in Hong Kong. And that was kind of Terry Rossio's original idea. He's like, there's got to be three fights, and ultimately we storyboarded the hell out of that fight, and we just couldn't find like a way to make it that interesting because these fights are very specific. I mean, like the ship battle is very dictated by the limitations that and the advantages that the monsters have. Like Kong can't really be in the water, and so that kind of dictates the entire fight scene, and it gives us a really cool focus, and it's something you've never seen before. And then the big neon fight is really about the one-on-one battle. This is like the moment where it's just like, okay, let's see who's the best, and they're going to duke it out. And so, whenever it came to the third fight, the midpoint fight, there wasn't a new take. It would have just been more of them beating the shit out of each other, which, like, hey, I mean, like, who's going to argue with that necessarily? But it just wasn't right. It just didn't work. It's one of those things where, like, you think more is more, but it's really not. You gotta, each one of these things has to really, have an impact,
Yeah.
and the best way to do it is to focus it, and let the playing field be part of the fight. And the Hollow Earth playing field was just too much of the same.
What's interesting as well about it is that, as you say, you start off with Kong, and this feels very much like Kong's movie in terms of screen time. It feels very consciously that you have kept Godzilla on the edges of the story. Can you talk about that decision, that approach?
Well, I always love the fact that Godzilla is like sort of a pendulum of a character. He swings back and forth from bad to good, and vice versa. And I kind of lucked out in the MonsterVerse series where I get to make the first one where Godzilla's playing the heel of the movie, and and just by proxy of doing that, he's going to be a bit more mysterious, because
Mhm.
as the villain, you can't just like hang out with him as much, like there has to be more mystery to him. And we still get to see him blow up shit and be Godzilla and do cool stuff. But at the end of the day, the movie's a bit more of Kong's perspective because he's in danger in this movie. Like I think they pretty explicitly say right out the gate that they're pretty worried about him. It's like if Godzilla and Kong fight, it's like, well, what's going to happen? And Kong's a badass and stuff, but he's not Godzilla. So how's this gonna work out? And so yeah, is Kong ends up also like he's very human in a lot of ways, and he's very in touch very directly with the human characters like with Gia,
Mhm.
and so it just makes sense for him sort of to be this sort of underdog hero of the story.
Yeah, he's got this emotional through line. He gets to go home. The Hollow Earth stuff I thought was really lovely, and you get a sense of humanity is the wrong word, ape-manity. I'm not even sure if that's the right word, but you do
Totally.
get a sense of that, the emotional growth for the character all the way through. And you've always said there's going to be a winner. And
Mhm.
I've always thought it had to be Godzilla. Just look at the fucking size of him, for God's sake. I mean, and look at what he can do. The guy's got, atomic breath, for the love of God. And that's kind of what happens, even in both fights. Kong puts up a good fight, but ultimately in the Neon City, as you say, Godzilla is the winner. Can you
Mhm.
talk about, was that always, it was always going to be that was always going to be that way, I guess?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I remember like when I was in second grade, I think it was, I was on the playground with my friend Justin. And I remember, I think, somehow the conversation started up on the playground and everybody was talking about King Kong and Godzilla for some reason. And I remember my friend Justin was just like so dead set on that King Kong would win. And I was just like, what? Are you kidding? Like, where are you pulling this from? How would King Kong win? I mean, he's a big monkey. It's like Godzilla is literally an indestructible god. He has atomic breath, like there's no way. I was just so insulted, and he was like not having it either. It was like it was like really like an impasse in our relationship, and so going into this, I was just like, as soon as I heard that they were making Godzilla versus Kong, and I threw my hat in the ring over there at Legendary, I knew that it was like Godzilla's got this in the bag, no question. But I also knew that there's going to be passionate, King Kong fans, because I love King Kong. I love
Mhm.
them both equally as characters. Like my thoughts on Godzilla winning has nothing to do with an impartiality. It's just a fact. I mean, it's just like you said. You look at it, it's just like, come on, like like you look at all the memes and all like the monkey and the Godzilla memes, and you're just like, yeah, there's, he's a radioactive like super monster. It's like this is no
Mm.
question that he's going to win. But what I knew also that the trick with this film was, and the reason why we were gonna be able to actually definitively have a winner in this movie was because Kong's victory isn't just a normal victory. I always knew that his victory was the Rocky victory. You can win a film without actually winning the fight, because his was about just not giving up, and ultimately he does kind of save the day later on in the movie. But, ultimately it was like, I knew that we could kind of have our cake and eat it too. And that was actually weirdly the easiest thing to figure out. That never changed in any version of the script. Like, I think there was one version early on where Kong actually died in the movie, but that was like immediately like, no way, we can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, like it's just like torturous too at that point. I mean, he's just getting like just like abused the whole movie. If he died, it would just be so depressing. And that's not the movie we made. I mean, like
Yeah,
Kong's a character who's died so many times in the past. It's so depressing, and it's just
yeah.
like that's not this film. Like and also we want to see more of him later on, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not. This isn't the sort of monkey that can fall off the Empire State Building anymore. He can just kind of step off the Empire State Building.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so
He
it's
can use the Empire State Building as a toothpick now. So.
yeah, precisely. So what's going to kill him? No, I love that because that would frankly have bummed me and everybody else. So that's a very very good call you made there. And the movie I saw had no post credit sting. Is that the case?
The actual ending of the movie was a post-credit scene. It was slightly different, but we used the footage and turned it into what it is. Interestingly enough.
How did it end initially with that sort of the moment where
Well,
Godzilla walks away and
if I told you how well the Godzilla walking away was normally the end, and then there's the Hollow Earth thing, right?
Mhm.
And if I told you what it really used to be, it would give away the potential direction of if there's more MonsterVerse films where we would go with it. So I don't want to necessarily say, but it's pretty exciting. And if this movie does well, and one of these movies is greenlit, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But
All right. Okay. Beautifully fake. I love it. I love it. Keep it fake, just in case. Just in case. But I did want to ask about that moment as well between Godzilla and Kong at the end of the film, where the two wounded gunslingers, have that moment of mutual respect. I'll be seeing you, partner, and Godzilla
yeah.
moseys on off and into the sea. Lovely note on which to end their relationship.
And that scene is really interesting because, yeah, Godzilla won, but and Kong does not bow down to him there. But he does show him respect by dropping that axe. Godzilla looks at him and is like, listen, like we all know I can beat you, but you got that axe and I don't like that axe. And, Kong's like, all right, here. I mean, he does show him respect. He respects Godzilla. Like he knows that
Yeah.
Godzilla won. And is he afraid of Godzilla? No, he's not afraid of anything, but he will show him respect. And Godzilla's like, all right, that's enough. You saved my life. I'll leave it at that. Maybe you're not going to bow down, but we all know I'm in charge. I am the king. You're still just Kong in the title. There's no king in there. You may have sat on your throne, but we all know who's the boss here.